for someone maybe watching or listening to this who doesn't quite grasp what we're referring to in terms of sourcing that, explain it in the context of an estate agency, what we're talking about.
Yeah, so as a deal packager, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, so as a deal packager, the way I describe it is we are estate agents that represent investment buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So in America, they have this model down to a T and everybody benefits and they get paid a lot. And it's a brilliant model. We just don't have this it's not as common really in the UK. But you'll have a buying agent and you'll have a selling agent, someone that represents a buyer, someone that represents a seller. And those two agents can work together to bring their buyer and their seller to the table to provide a house that the buyer wants and to provide a buyer that the seller wants.
Yes.
So it works beautifully. They get paid a really good amount. They'll get paid 5 to 10% or something on an agency fee. It's just not that common in the UK, but actually that's what we're doing. We are the buying agent. And so we are finding good quality properties, particularly in the investment field, for our serious buyers that are ready to
Yeah, so in a traditional estate agency, when you put a property up for sale and you're selling, say, for example, your home or an investment property, you're paying the agent a fee to sell the property.
Yeah.
In this model here, it's actually the buyer that's paying the fee. That's the thing that's different.
Yeah.
So from a compliance point of view, it really, all this sits under the similar things that are applicable to an estate agency.
Yeah. If you get signed up to, we've started an estate agency this year, again, and the requirements to get signed up to Rightmove are anti-money laundering, it's being registered with a redress scheme and all the other things, because actually being an estate agent is exactly the same thing
what you're doing
as a deal packager.
Yeah. And it's a very popular thing that people talk about in the property space and the property investing space. And, you know, I think it's a core skill. It's a must-have skill.
Yeah.
It's where I started, it's where my journey started in property. But lots of people tend to attempt it, maybe give up, not get results in trying to find deals. Why do you think that is?
I think people think it's going to be easier than it is. And actually, in the same way that I was talking about one of my investors, that it's all about volume, velocity, even for small margins, it's kind of the same thing with deal packaging. A lot of people will come to me and say, you know, I've been trying to source a deal for 3 months, nothing's working, I'm thinking about giving up. And I'll say to them, okay, how many houses have you been in? Well, not that many. Yeah. Okay, how many agents have you called? Well, actually not that many. And do you know what I mean? It's actually that for a lot of people, they really want to, but they think that after 2 or 3 phone calls, they should have a deal agreed, and it's just not the case.
Yeah. And it's very tough because really it's a type of sales. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're saying, although you're not selling a product or a commodity, what you're doing is selling yourself and say, sell your house to me or through me. That's essentially what you're saying. And so you're setting yourself up massive amounts of rejection, and most people are not prepared for that. And when we talk about leafleting, I've had many conversations with people as well. Say, we're doing leaflets. How many leaflets have you done? I've done like 200 leaflets. Oh, what, 200 leaflets? What, in the last hour? No, altogether. Why, how many should I be doing? I said, well, I can only give my numbers. When I was leafleting, I was doing batches of 100,000.
Yes, yeah.
It was like, you know, you were like carpet bombing the town.
Yeah. Someone I know was, they decided to do a leaflet drop in the north of Wales. And for some reason, they thought they would just do a leaflet that was basically, it looked like a wad of cash.
Okay.
And it said cash offer for your house. But they did 100,000 leaflets.
Right.
And the response rate was incredible. Right. But it was everyone calling up saying, what, there's free, it was a free cash offer they put, free cash offer. And they're thinking, do we get free cash? What is this? What is this? It didn't go down that well. But yeah, it's about volume. It's about doing not just a couple of hundred and seeing how it goes. It's thousands, and it costs money, and so that puts people off investing into something to then make a return. Actually, it's the same thing with deal sourcing. Actually, if you're going to invest in Facebook ads, Google ads, leaflets, letters, whatever it is, you have to put money in to get money out. I think one of the other things as well that people don't realise when it comes to deal packaging and being successful in it is actually the buying side of it. And so, it's one thing to go out and find a deal. But what I find is that there's actually quite a few people who can go out and find a deal. The problem is they haven't lined up a serious investor.
Yes.
So I often talk about, when you're getting your investors, making sure they are serious investors. So I qualify my investors very seriously and make sure that they are experienced, because what I don't want to do is to get, especially for people who do what's called bespoke sourcing, where they say to an investor, I could say to you, Saj, what kind of property are you after? You say to me, 6-bedroom HMO in Birmingham. Okay, great. I'm going to go out and find it. I go out, find it, spend a load of money, spend a load of time, look at it, bring you a 6-bed HMO, and you go,
I don't like the colour of the front door.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's actually not the area of Birmingham I was talking about. So they haven't, it's the expectation and the alignment and actually just how serious the investor is. And so if you can get a serious investor, and to be honest, I prefer to work with experienced investors just from
be a smoother process.
So
they know what they're doing. Yeah, they're not tire kicking going on.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about it's about putting the work in, investing in, finding the best deals. But it's also about being willing to walk away from investors that might say, I've got £500,000, but actually they're not willing to part with a penny of it. They're just dreaming.
Yes, there's so many different phases really, although we're kind of jumped around in terms of the conversation. And the idea of finding property, you've got to think about where geographically you're going to do that. That might be locally where you live. It could be around the country. It could be like, for example, around the north, as you said, your area. And then what type of property you're looking for. Is it anything or everything? Or is it a certain type of property looking for? For example, we touched on it could be HMOs, or your core thing has been below market value. And if it's below market value, you're probably less concerned about the building because the strategy is it needs to be discounting it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, as long as there's some big chunky discount in it. And if you, for example, you're looking for, say, service accommodation or rent, whatever it is, you need to be clear what it is you're looking for to go out for it. Then it's a lead generation machine.
Yeah.
Then it's right, how do we get all these leads in? As you mentioned, with Facebook ads, Google ads, leaflets, whatever method you're using to get the leads in.
Yeah.
You need to have a filter that you can filter them through very quickly and say, well, actually, this doesn't fit. Oh, that one's interesting. Let's have a conversation, explore that one.
Yeah.
And then that's just the beginning, because there's still massive amounts of rejection. So when we talk about doing thousands and thousands of leaflets, because the message will appeal to only a tiny, tiny percentage, not for most people. Most people are not interested in that. And I think that can put a lot of people off. And as you said, there's so much after that as well, because once let's say you've agreed something, you now need to find a buyer. The buyer needs to be serious, want to do it, and you've got to see all the way to completion.